would like to show you a flower crown. It's an old tradition of our country and the eastern countries as well. As you can see, they're so cute, so cute, so cute. And because our topic today will be very, very serious, I decided to show you something a little bright. Okay, so what is social distancing and why the hell am I the one talking about it? I'm very, very curious what happens to a person in a social distancing situation. And with my psychology background, I can say that more or less I have this, not opinion, but overall understanding that I think is valuable in a way that I don't tell you what to think exactly, but I present you an overview of what is social distancing and what it does to your body and what it does to you mentally and emotionally. The more you know, the more you know. If you find yourself that you relate to some of those points, I have propositions, I have suggestions that have worked for me, that I have talked with my friends and close and loved ones. By the way, I'm Desislava, and if you're still watching, let's talk about social distancing. Let's start easy. What is social distancing? It's keeping physical distance between you and other people, keeping space between you and everyone else. Don't get involved with mass gatherings, anything like that. If we are being stereotypical here, you notice two types of people. Those that in a social distancing situation, they become domestic people that you've no idea how they came to be. They start baking, they start watching shows, taking long baths. And the other opposite of this one group is the one that is feeling that FaceTiming isn't a privilege, is a necessity. Like the closing of a favorite coffee shop or a restaurant is a world-ending situation. And yeah, no joke here, but the walls are closing in for them. Yeah, those are the real extroverts here that we all have to feel sympathetic about. By the way, I'm one of those people, so everyone reacts differently in a stressful situation. It all depends on how you've been raised, what is your background, or really the community you live in. But the impact of social distancing, the social isolation, isn't felt for the first time now. There are many researches in different areas that shows us a pattern that is repeated. You can find great resemblance between this now and, for example, the research is done on astronauts, those that are incarcerated, the researcher on the Antarctic, or even the elderly people that live this kind of life every single day. It's important to remember that isolation doesn't just numb your mind. People start getting lethargic because they are not so active in the inputs they have on their own life. It's no surprise that we see depression and anxiety kicking in. There is this joke that depression and anxiety are cousins. The stress you feel in a global outbreak like this one is very obvious because you feel fear for your own health, for the health of your loved ones. This stress, you can see it physically with the lack of sleep you can get. The change you see in what you eat, when you eat, how you eat. There is great increase in drinking alcohol, tobacco, of using drugs. So when I ask myself, why is that happening? The most obvious answer for myself was because we don't have a defined time of when this social distancing, social isolation will end. Even for those in prisons, for those researchers I mentioned that are in Antarctica or somewhere, they have a defined period of time when they start and when they finish this isolation. No one can say for sure when this whole thing will end. You have to wait, and that just piles on and on and on and on. It just blows up. Because everything is related, the psychological stress you feel right now, it doesn't manifest only emotionally. It manifests physically as well. There is this professor that I love so much that has written interesting research on this topic, and he says that the physiological response to the body for each day in isolation is like smoking 50 cigarettes a day. That is how your body reacts to the psychological and emotional stress. And that's the physical aspect. Just a comparison, like imagine it. Can you imagine the correlation between all those things? The effects of social distancing are many. Depression, boredom, and if you feel them, there is no shame in that. I even feel it. Many people that I love feel it. It's not a constant thing. It's up and down. Why exactly, if you're curious, is depression happening? Our normal life is whacked right now. Kids are learning from home, they're not going to school. Even to that, the simple fact that you can go out to a restaurant or gather with your friends or see a movie in the cinema. The depression and the boredom are responses to all those things that I mentioned, and numerous more. You could be angry, frustrated, even irritable. and mostly they're directed to people out of your closed worlds. For example, you go to the grocery store and you see some idiot, touching everything without gloves on, without a mask on, and you see him piling up those toilet paper like it's the end of the world. Even you get frustrated with the authorities that always tell you again and again and again and again what to do, what not to do, what not to do, what not to do. And yeah, it's understandable. It's all provoked from that helplessness, you know, and that's humane as well. Just soaked it in. What interests me the most is the physical changes that people in social distancing, social isolation feel. There is this research that I've found about the astronauts from the spaceship Mars 500 that says that no matter how young and trained they were, being in a long period of time in an isolated space, even those who are trained, that have chosen willingly to go, show radical physical changes. The whole sleeping arrangements for them is changed, their eating habits. But in every extreme environment, that's inevitable. There are researchers that say even your immune system could change, or your metabolism is as well. It's fascinating. I find it so interesting that we're so sociable and we don't even realize how much until we are put in this kind of an extreme environment. But speaking about those astronauts, don't get me wrong, your body getting wonky to that kind of extent is almost unreal, because let's be honest here, we are not so isolated as we feel like we are. Just our pattern of living is because I've been such a downer till now, I'll be kind-hearted and tell you a few tips, not tips, but things that have helped me, at least a little bit, if not very much so, help deal with the stress, the anxiety, the depression, every negative aspect resulted from social distancing. However cliche that sounds, exercise boosts your emotion. Another thing that I find very helpful for myself, because I'm such an OCD person, is create structure in your life. Every single day, structure it so you feel that you have that control that was taken from you. Structure your day, your routine, plan the things you want to do, get back what you feel was taken from you. Do everything that you have put away because you didn't have time, you didn't have energy, the possibility. You can experience PTSD symptoms, and not exactly from the isolation you feel right now, but when this whole thing is over, take your time. That's my advice. Take your time getting back to that fast-paced life, because maybe you don't realize it, but your body, your mind, your emotion, however whacked they are right now, they're adapting to the situation right now. Take your time. Fortunately, you're not in this alone. So if you haven't spoken to somebody in a long period of time, or like a colleague that you haven't heard from in a while, or a relative that you know is okay, but still check on them, talk with them, reconnect with people that you just didn't have that time to do it before. Stop watching so much news. Stop reading, obsessing, and checking every single news channel about what the hell is going on every single second. Limit this information gathering for 2 or 3 times a day. It's a serious matter that when you pile it on you, you might not feel it immediately, but it's depressing, it's nerve-wracking, it's angering, it's disappointing, and it's scary as hell. All of this information that is to make you aware of some things, to understand other, and to not feel so alone, to know that everything isn't experienced only by you. Just acknowledge what is happening to you, to your friends, to your loved ones, physically, emotionally, psychologically. Don't deny it. Even acknowledging something small will help you enormously. I promise you. Positive mindset is a skill that many people don't have, and they have to work on it daily. Now it's even harder to do so, but it's rewarding. Be kind to yourself firstly, and to everyone else. It's not only rewarding the other people around you, but it rewards you as well. When you are kind, when you speak kindly, when you think kindly, it manifests in everything. There is this center in your brain. When you do something kind to another person, this part of your brain lights up and you feel pleasure, physical pleasure from it. It's called the helper's high, like whoop. Yeah. I see it in many people that if you don't manage your expectations, not only you'll get more stressed, and that leads to all the before mentioned things, but being let down in a historical moment like this one is just another drop in the already full glass of water. Be easy on yourself. Be easy on the people around you, those that you like, those that you love, those that you appreciate, and those that get on your nerves like constantly. It is difficult. I know, believe me. I think that's all. Wow, wouldn't you believe so? My major is psychology, so I wouldn't say that I'm a know-it-all. Sorry if I come as someone like that. That's not my intention. This whole thing that I presented to you, my research, my opinions, my advices, so many, I know, I'm not, were beneficial to me, to my family. And if I could only light up a bulb in somebody's brain. That will be good for me. Just think about it. And now I'll go back to my flower crowns and have fun. You do the same. Yeah, that's so cute. Sorry, got distracted. Thank you for watching and hope to see you soon. Bye!